Hello and welcome to my Unity 2022.3.11 F1 2D movement and power up tutorial. I'm going to start off by creating the 2D sprite square, which is going to be the player. I'm then going to add a player script, new script, and create an add. And once it's loaded, I will double click on the script in the assets window and it will open Visual Studio with the script inside. I'm then going to create a public float called player speed, without space. And then going to make an if statement which will get an input. It will get we want to get key, and then get the key with the key code of W. And on W we want it to, on the push of W we want it to transform the position of the player, and we want it to increase the up position, because we want to place it with up page, and we want to times it by the player speed and times it by time dot delta time. I'm then going to copy this and paste it underneath, but I'm going to change the key code up here on the input here to S, and instead of increasing the up position, we want it to decrease the up position. I'm then going to make another if statement for the end that we want it to get another input. We want to get key, and we want it to be a key code of A, and we want it to, of course, we want it to adjust the position, and we want it to minus transform of right, because there is no left transform. We want it to times it by the player speed, and also times it by time dot delta time. I'm then also going to copy this one and paste it underneath, and I'm going to change A to D, and we want it this time to increase the right movement. Then we're going to save this, go back to Unity, click on the player, and I want to set the speed inside the inspector to whatever number you want. I'm going to set it to 5. And yeah, see, we can move the player, and then based on the speed in the inspector, we can, if I set it to something like 20, it'll make the player go super fast. And if I set it back to 1, we can have the player go incredibly slowly. Yeah, whenever you set that number to, it should move the player that speed. Right, now we're going to add this player speed boost. Inside the player, we want to add a rigid body 2D. We want the gravity scale to be 0, so the player doesn't fall. We then want to add a box collider 2D, and this can be just left how it is, it's not important. We then are going to create a 2D sprite, and I'm going to make it a triangle, so it's different from the player, and I'm going to name it Speed Boost. Now we've created that Speed Boost object, we can go into the Speed Boost object and we can add a 2D box collider. We can make it isTrigger, so now the player can interact with this object, but it just won't do anything at the moment. I then want to go back into the player script, and I want to create, underneath the float or on top of the float, I want to create a public bool, and it's going to be called speed boost active. Or it can just be called speed boost, doesn't really matter what you call it. I then want to create a function underneath the update function. So if I do public void, and I'm going to call it activate speed boost. I'm going to put 2 brackets and then curly brackets and press enter, and it should create the function. I then want to put an if statement, and it's going to say exclamation mark and then the bool we just created. And inside of this we want to say if that has happened, we want to also set this. We want to set the speed boost to true, or the bool to true, and then we want to increase the player's speed by wrong way around, by however much you like. I'm going to double the player speed. I then want to go underneath here, underneath the function we just created. We want to create a coroutine so we can make the speed boost run out after a certain amount of time. To do this, I'm going to do IEnumerator, and then I want to name it. I'm going to just call it speed boost time. I'm going to do the same thing we did with creating a function, put 2 brackets and then curly brackets and then enter, and it should be created. I then want to type in yield return new, and we want to wait for seconds and put 2 brackets, and inside the brackets is the number of seconds you want the thing to wait. So I'm going to put 5 seconds for now. And then we want it to set the bool to, we then want to set it to false. And then we also want it to set the player speed back to its original thing, so you can just do minus equals and then the previous number you just put in to increase the speed by. Then inside the if statement, we want it to start coroutine, put brackets, and then the name of the coroutine that you put down here. So mine's called speed boost time, so I'm going to put in speed boost time and then 2 brackets after that. Make sure to include semicolon at the end. And so that should, once all these 2 things happen, it will start everything in the coroutine that we put down here. So it will make the program wait for seconds and then set the speed boost active to false, because we don't want the speed boost to be active, and then it reduce the player speed again. We can save this, and we're completely done with this. We can minimize this for now. Now what we want to do is go into the speed boost, and we want to create a new script called speed boost script. New script, create and add. I'll try and load it here, and we want to double click the script in Unity and it should open it properly. We then want to, inside the script, we want to find our previous script. So I'm going to put mine as I'm going to do a private, and I want to type in the name of my previous script. Mine's called player script, and then I'm just going to call it in this script player. And then inside the start function, I want to put player equals game object dot find, and then I want to find the object which is attached to, which would be the player. So as I name my player, I'm going to put in player in here, and then I want to do a dot get component, because we want to get the script component, and then I'm going to type in the name of the script again, which is player script, and then we put 2 brackets at the end and finish the line with a semicolon. So this will find the previous script as soon as the game loads. Save this. I then want to create a onTriggerEnter2D function, and then I want to put an if function. I want to do collision dot compare tag, and then we want to do brackets and some speech marks, and I want to put in player. I'll explain what we're doing here later. I'm then going to create another if statement, and inside this if statement it's going to check if player isn't equal to null, and then it will do player, which are our player script, and then I want to do the activate speed boost function, which is the function we created in our player script here. Now inside the first if statement, underneath this second one, I want to then make a destroy. I want to make it destroy this game object, which would be the speed boost object. So then if I save this, go into Unity, now I can explain what the compare tag feature does. So what we want to do is go to the player, and under this section here it says tag. We want to change it from untagged to player. And if the player thing doesn't show up, you can add a tag here, click the plus, and then type in the tag here. It won't immediately after you do that change it to the right tag, so you'll still have to add it through this menu here. So once you've added the tag, like I've done here, we can then click play, and the player should collide with the object and then gain a boost to speed. Just to show it more clearly, I'm going to go into the script, and I will change how much it boosts it by. So I'm going to change it to 20, and also change it to the same thing down here. So I click play. Now we get an insane speed boost. So you can do a lot with this. You can, instead of doing speed, you can make it like a health item. So if you have like a float on the player, you can use the same functions and whatever, and just change it to health instead, and make it so the object here will take away health from this object and then destroy this object instead. It's a lot of the same things, just accessing the different scripts and adding and minusing floats from each other. And that's the end of the tutorial.